tell you who I am. I can't tell you where I work. I can't tell you the name of the program, the facility, or the people involved. Those details are classified far above my clearance level now. What I can tell you is this. If what we heard is true, humanity may have just made the biggest mistake in its history.
For most of my career, I worked on projects that sounded impossible. Experimental physics, theoretical communication systems, ideas that felt more like science fiction than science. Most of them failed. A few showed promise. None of them prepared me for what happened yesterday.
People imagine first contact happening a certain way. A giant radio telescope aimed at the stars, a mysterious signal from deep space, a spacecraft appearing above Earth. That's not how it happened, not even close. The truth began with a question, a strange one. Why do certain ancient structures appear all over the world? Different civilizations, different continents, thousands of years apart, yet many of them share remarkably similar designs. Historians called them temples. Archaeologists called them ceremonial sites. Our team had another theory. What if they weren't built for worship? What if they were built for communication? The idea sounded ridiculous at first, even to me. But the more data we gathered, the harder it became to ignore. Certain chambers amplified sound in unusual ways. Certain arrangements of stone produced resonance patterns that shouldn't have existed. Again and again, the numbers pointed toward the same thing: frequency, vibration, resonance. Eventually, we stopped asking whether it was possible. We started asking how it worked. That led us to the experiment. Years of research, millions of dollars, hundreds of simulations, all focused on one goal: recreating the exact resonance conditions we believed those ancient structures were designed to produce. The chamber itself looked unimpressive. A circular room, metallic walls, thousands of sensors, banks of computers monitoring every variable imaginable: temperature, pressure, magnetic fluctuations, acoustic harmonics, everything. On the morning of the test, nobody expected history to be made. We expected data, nothing more. People were drinking coffee, making jokes, talking about weekend plans. Nobody looked nervous because nobody believed the experiment would actually work. At precisely 10:17 a.m., we initiated the sequence. The chamber began generating frequencies. Low frequencies first, then higher, then combinations of both. Wave after wave, perfectly synchronized. The sound wasn't loud, but you could feel it, a subtle vibration in your chest, like standing too close to a massive engine. The readings matched our predictions, then exceeded them. A technician announced resonance stability had reached 100%. Nobody knew exactly what that meant, because no human being had ever achieved it before. And then everything stopped. The frequencies vanished, the equipment fell silent, the room became completely still. Yet the sensation remained. The vibration inside my chest continued, slow, steady, impossible. I looked around. Everyone else felt it too. Then, something happened that I still struggle to explain.
I heard a voice, not with my ears, inside me, inside my chest, inside my thoughts. A presence, a consciousness. And the first thing it said was,
"You guys are back."
Every person in that room froze. The lead engineer went pale. A technician dropped his tablet. Others stared at each other in disbelief. Everyone had heard it or felt it. Whatever this was, it wasn't happening to just me. Finally, our project director stepped forward. His voice trembled. "Who are you?"
Asking who I am is difficult. You don't have concepts for what I am. According to the being, life was everywhere. Countless civilizations, countless species, entire histories unfolding across distances beyond comprehension. And then there was our region, a void, a cosmic desert, no life, no signals, no civilizations, nothing, for unimaginable distances in every direction. And yet, Earth existed, against every prediction, against every probability, against every expectation. We were an impossibility, a statistical error, a miracle, or something much worse. The director finally asked the question everyone was thinking. Why? For the first time, the presence hesitated, and that terrified me more than anything else, because hesitation meant concern. When it finally answered, the feeling behind the words had changed. Gone was the curiosity. Now there was fear. Not fear of us, fear of something else, something larger. There is a reason. Then silence. 30 seconds. 40. 50. A full minute passed. Nobody dared move. Finally, the voice returned, urgent. If you value your lives, if you value every living thing on your planet, never use this method of communication again. Moments later, the intercom crackled. A voice none of us recognized came over the speakers. Cold, calm, authoritative. Do not touch any equipment. Remain where you are. Security teams are en route. Within minutes, soldiers entered the facility. Military, armed, prepared, as if they had been expecting this day for a very long time. We were separated, questioned, observed, analyzed. Hours later, sitting alone in an interrogation room, one thought wouldn't leave my mind. The machine. Nobody had shut it down. And if that thing was right, if someone else had heard us, then every second it remained active was another second we were broadcasting our location. Then, somewhere down the hall, alarms began to sound, distant at first, then louder. I stood from my chair, and for a brief moment, I felt that vibration in my chest again. The same vibration, the same presence, only this time, it wasn't curious, it wasn't surprised, it was terrified. And just before the lights went out, I heard one final message. He found you.